I'm in Romania for 2 days. I wish I had more time here, but this trip was very last minute. I've been in London for the past 2 weeks, and figured since I'm out here in Europe, I might as well shell out the cash for a last minute overpriced ticket to see my grandma. She lives in an elderly home in Bucharest now, the capital of Romania, but she lived in Ploiești all her life, a small town around an hour away. I haven't been to Ploiești in almost 6 years, since 2018. I arrived around 4 a.m. and the birds were chirping. The air was so clean. It was serene. There's just a certain way this town smells. It doesn't smell like anywhere else I've been. I think it's just one of those scents my body remembers from childhood. It just feels right. It feels familiar. This is where I'll be sleeping for 2 nights. Bunis' apartment. Buni is short for bunica, which means grandma in Romanian. When I first got into the apartment that night, I was really overwhelmed. 6 years since I had last been here, and everything was just as I remembered it. It was like a time capsule. It's been unlived in for 4 years, because during COVID, my grandma's symptoms of dementia, Alzheimer's, and paranoia worsened. Probably due to isolation, since she couldn't go to church anymore. Buni loved church. She was there like every day. She was a single mom. I think her faith gave her the strength to raise my dad by herself. And when my dad moved to America, I think church filled the void of her empty home. She probably relied on church for the majority of her social interactions. She also had her neighbors, and maybe the vegetable market or the grocery store too. I don't know. It was either the isolation from COVID, or maybe she just got old and mentally declined, as is natural. I've only ever been here in the summertime, when everyone sits on the benches in front of the communist block buildings, talking, playing with the cats and ladybugs who are also residents of the neighborhood. Seeing exposed branches of trees and bushes with no leaves felt off. Where there was normally shade and gentle symphonies of leaves blowing, there was just harsh wind. Sometimes I wonder what her life would be like if she was still mentally intact. I went to the grocery store only a 4-minute walk away from her apartment and saw old people that made me think of her. What if she was one of them? Pushing around a shopping cart filled with items she'd used to whip up her classic delicious feasts. The more I think about it, the more I realize I don't like the fact that I can't talk to her about my current state, about my adult life. I lost an incredibly valuable source of wisdom. Her and I always had a really special bond. We understood each other beyond language. It was a mutual understanding. We just knew how to comfort each other. When I used to get migraines as a kid, she would massage my forehead with her knuckles. And when she was stressed or upset, I'd give her a funny hairdo to make her laugh, or tell her a fond memory of my childhood, like that one time I made her pour me 4 different types of cereal before I settled on the one I liked. I loved making her laugh, and she would really, really laugh. Last time I was here was November 2022. I also came pretty much just to see my grandma. I didn't even spend the night in the country. I just had a few hours in Bucharest. I looked different then. I had really long hair, almost down to my waist. And my grandma didn't recognize me. She got mad at me and told me I'm not her grandson. It sent me into a spiral of sorts. I went and I saw her today. I wasn't sure what to expect. She remembered me this time. She wasn't very verbal, but she was telling the nurses at the home that I'm her grandson. It wasn't the uber fulfilling experience I had hoped for, though. It was sad to see her in her state. The rest of the trip was pretty heavy after seeing her like that. We were looking into each other's eyes, and I was trying to decipher whether or not there was anything behind them, or if it was just an empty stare. I don't know. Old age is weird like that. I had around a day left and decided the best use of my time would be to go through older relics in the apartment and dig around. That's what my grandma's apartment looks like from the outside.
Bună ziua!
And this is what it looks like from the inside. I remember these drawings on this electrical sign, and these stickers on this mailbox from when I was a kid. And this portrait of Buni being the first thing you see when you turn on the lights as you enter, and the last thing you see before you leave. I realized that she actually colored her lips red, and she drew on eyelashes, which is funny to me. Pre-Photoshop editing. This apartment is more or less exactly the same apartment my dad grew up in. He told me stories when I was younger of how he'd sit in this chair and pretend he was driving a car. He'd put a ruler in between the cushion and pretend it was a gear stick. I remember doing the same thing when I was younger. This is the bathroom. It's nothing special, but there's always been this cool decal of this woman on one of the tiles. This is the kitchen. It is special to me because it was special to Booney. This is a ridiculous photo of me as a cowboy. And I know there's a lot of good photos in here.
Prima zi, de ce, de ce cum te-ai schimbat fără să știi? De ce, de ce de-mi dai o sărutare? E sărbătoare, se întâmplă atât de rar și visul se înfiripă, dar după o clipă dispare iar. De ce nu ești ca în prima zi? Păcat, păcat, spunându-mi că nimic nu s-a schimbat, dar tot mi-aduc aminte de cum erai înainte și atunci trăiesc să nu te mir din
These are some of Booney's really nice plates. This is kind of what it looked like when we would eat. There were always a lot of plates on the table. Maybe not this many. They were all filled with food until they weren't, because we would eat everything. There were rarely any leftovers. I remember eating at this table with my family. We would argue, but we'd mostly enjoy Booney's food. Schnitzel, momoliga, chicken soup. I don't remember the names of the desserts she'd make, but they were cookies with moist little cakes and cherries on top. She was a really good cook. I didn't get a shot of it, but I remember watching Cartoon Network on the couch behind the table. Everything was dubbed in Romanian. I think that's kind of how I learned Romanian. I'm not the best at speaking, but I've always taken pride in the fact that I can converse in my mother tongue. I rediscovered that song that just played when I was on the plane on the way here, and I was listening to some Romanian songs I had downloaded a couple years back. The lyrics of the song are, "Why are you not the same as the first day? Oh why, you've changed without even knowing." It's a love song, but it hit me like a truck in the context of my grandma's mental decline. And I guess looking at the photos of young me while the song was playing had me choking up a bit as well. It's a pretty beautiful song. I'm glad I came to Romania to see my grandma. I hope next time I'm here I can stay for longer.
Dar tot nu sunt în stare să-ți pun o întrebare.